I see what you did there.
Many a men knocked off. Cheating is not good, people. It's not good. Don't cheat.
Not at all. So there you go. That's the result. You get hurt. Play stupid game, win stupid prizes.
I don't know why I like this.
That's like an old black hymn, right?
It is.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in.
To
the Juxtaposition Podcast. What's going on? Welcome to episode 19 of the Juxtaposition Podcast, aka the Extraordinary Nobodies, aka the Starting Five, aka the Five Heartbeats, aka Four Hubbies and the Possible. I'm your host, Varsinio Hall. I got my brothers.
Hey yo,
What's up?
We got Kicking It with Cleveland, aka Bill. We got Zoe, aka CE Zoe.
Yes,
we
sir.
got James, aka Bag Talk, aka Money Bag Yo, aka Window of Opportunity. And we got my man KV the Abstract. He don't like that, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. What's going on, fellas? How y'all feeling?
What up? Good.
Good. What's up?
So my question of the week this week was going to be introspective. It was, but like I just said, nah, fuck it. We're just going to keep it real simple. This episode that we bring to y'all is due in part to Fall 05's 15-year anniversary, which is tomorrow. But by the time you hear this, it'll be yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an episode full of all Kappa things. If you don't know, we're all members of Kappa Alpha Psi, all members of the Untitled Chapter. So if you don't like Greek life or Black Greek life, I'm sorry. You're already here. You're trapped.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep it real basic, real general, just like the interest meeting question. James, tell me,
Damn.
why did you become a member of Kappa Alpha Psi?
Shout out to him and Kev. They gonna be 14 years a couple of weeks after us. So
For sure.
yeah, man.
Moment of clarity. And before you give me the mature answer that I know you will, the manager and corporate man in you, I want you to give me the raunchy version, like, nah, shorties on campus was fine. It was all right. I want to hear that answer. So go ahead.
That answer not gonna exist, man. Because it wasn't for me. Because the thing is, right, when people join organizations, particularly Greek life, most of the time not most of the time, but I guess there's a lot of people who join because it might heighten or elevate their ability to stand out on campus, right? I feel like for me, I didn't necessarily need that at the time in my life on campus.
Tell them why.
No, it was more so I was just a sociable person, so I was able to communicate and interact with people. That wasn't an issue. However, I kind of wanted to join, I guess, something to be a part of that was different than the organizations I was already in. And I felt like a fraternity could be that. And Kappa was obviously the only choice. There was nothing else that I was even close to interested in. So, you know.
Damn. I should have started with Alonzo. He was going to give you something juicy.
Yeah. I'm not the guy. You know I'm not the guy, man.
I know. Zoe, tell me why you become a Nupe, Zoe. Tell us why.
I'll be honest, I didn't want any regrets. So
I knew he was going to use Chris's answer again.
Nah, that was mine. I'm going to tell you why. That's not Chris's answer. That was mine. Nah, seriously. Because James even noticed, and Kev too, like my number one regret was like not playing football in high school. Like I wish I would have actually got like formal training, like playing. Plus the coach wanted me to play, and I was like, nah, because the head coach was my high jump coach. So I was like, I'm good. So that was like a big thing I look back on, especially when I was in high school, when I transferred, when I got to Jackson, they won 2 state championships. Shit, I could have just been floating around with 2 rings. Like, burn.
So you're saying that you became a Kappa because you didn't want to miss out on our Chapter of the Year trophies? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I had to contribute to that shit. You know what I mean? We was like the Rockets 94, 95, that repeat. You feel me?
Nah, we was the Bulls. If we keeping it real, we wasn't.
I mean, for the trophy though, trophy wise.
Okay, all right.
The 2 back to back, but that's really. I mean, I first looked at Greek life freshman year, and I was like, and then like Cleveland, I thought about it But then I had like a distaste for Greek life for whatever reason that was going on around campus. So I was like,
Because all the bums was Greek and they was getting all the girls. Like, if you like him,
No, they wasn't though.
nah, that was the thing.
Not.
Yeah. So then I kind of was like, I don't know all about this Greek life thing. And then randomly, it just like popped in my head. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want no regrets. Stuff is flowing. And I'm not going to lie. I did what the icing on the cake for me was this Rutgers party that Chris took us to. Shout out to Chris Hendy. He took us to this party at Ada Epsilon. Shout out to HE.
Oh, that's the one I was there. This was
right
before.
All three of us, with me, you, and Cleveland was there for that was Spring 05's crossing joint. Anwar, Eric, Oba, Christian.
Yeah, that's back when Holla Back Girl was varsity.
I think I was his ringtone.
I was like, that's not.
Yeah, all right.
And we ain't talking about Fabulous. We talking about Fergie. Like,
that's how I learned how to spell bananas.
That's funny.
That's how I learned how to spell bananas. If we keeping it real,
Ain't that Gwen Stefani?
Yeah, it
is.
wasn't white girl. No.
It was Gwen.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, you know, for me, that sealed it. Once I saw certain things at that party, I was like, oh, all right.
So Zoe gave me a politically correct answer too. I know my boy KV gonna come through with something juicy. I know KV gonna come with it.
I mean, what's juicy? Like, what's tell me what that temperature's like. No, but for me, man, it was. So I was inspired when I was at Morgan, but then when I came to TC&J, I wanted to leave. Like, one of my family is Greek. That wasn't a thing in my family, and I saw an opportunity to leave a legacy. And right. I met my man, my ace, and I felt like me, him could do some like real work. So I felt like
take over the campus.
Man, I saw that. I was like, yo, oh yeah, he the right one, and we gonna do this. I mean, we did that in the right way. We had a good time. So for me, it was more or less like definitely wanting to leave a legacy and really do it with some really quality, man. I feel like James and Woody, like even with Devon, I feel like embodied love, man. It was the right pieces, it was the right people around me to wanted me to further that mission, and I knew I could do that. If I was going to do it regardless. I would have probably did it by myself if I had to.
If you're messing with Devon, you would have.
But for me, it was just that, man. I was inspired. Never, like I said, I never really knew too much about it. Greek life itself. I didn't have family that was Greek before me. It was one of those moments in my life where I made a decision that was for me, and what came of that was long-term friendships, loss of relationships that were expected to be long-term. It was like a breaking point of me being myself and coming out of myself, and the people who were supposed to be with me on that ride and journey, like, really came into my life. And that was that breaking moment where I learned that you in life have to make decisions, and the right people will stay with you. And that was proven, So like, not only do we feel like we live a good remembrance of what that experience was, who that person was, or that time was, but we still maintain solid relationships, solid foundations, and great memories. So I'm happy that I took on that journey, because it was times where the people who really weren't knowledge or were willing to seek the knowledge about that information and their fear around it, and how they almost kind of like tried to like keep me from kind of trying to achieve that goal. And and you call it that, we can call it that, and that comes with everything too. So that learning process was like a pivotal moment. Everything that I took away from that process, I applied to today. And so it was something that I can honestly say that I want to see, hopefully one day in life, if I'm fortunate to bring more people into this world, that they may get inspired to seek that opportunity because of something that we've created and started in that moment. So
Same. I feel like I got to hold it down for Follow 5 in that regard, since Cleveland not having no more and Alonzo got daughters. So it's like, all right, it's kind of how I feel. Now I know my boy Bill is going to bring it home with the fire story as to why he became a Kappa. Come on, Bill, give me something good.
I'll give the serious answer later on in the podcast, but I just wanted to stroll. I just want
Okay.
Honestly, what it was, I really did want to stroll. It wasn't about like attention or like getting girls or getting women, because as Zoe mentioned earlier, there were people on campus who had, going through their process and crossed.
It was trash.
Well before we were even thinking about joining the fraternity, and for some reason, people were still hating on us. Like, it was strange.
And this is before y'all was Greek.
Correct.
Before we were Greek.
Yeah.
So like, that was never the draw. Like, I wanted to stroll. I wanted to go into a party.
This is me.
And
honestly, Cleveland, I think it was the fitteds. You had more gear than the Greek dudes.
I had a fitted for every outfit. I had pink fitted. I had orange fitteds. I had brown fitteds.
But when we lived together, it got double wardrobe because we had the same hat size. So it was like,
what are the odds that y'all can like switch things? Like, that's crazy.
We literally had like maybe 50 hats in the room.
We had mad fitteds in the room. I had the fitted. Remember the NBA fitted that had all the patches on it?
The Cooper's, the hardwood classic joint.
2 different colors. No, you had the red. I think I had the black.
The red one I had was like MLB joint. I had the Cooperstown, and then you had the hardwood classic joint.
I had the hardwood classic joint.
Yeah, I had the Cooperstown.
I feel like Zoe had the first Negro Leagues retro fitted.
I did. The Barrington Black Barons, nigga. What you doing?
I didn't know nothing about it back then.
But I had everything. I had the pinwheel style. I had the single logo style. I had everything, man.
Now you did. You was the lids.
Oh yeah. Niggas had lids. The lids membership
do-rags.
Oh yeah.
Never flowing. Never flowing.
Fitted with the matching tee. White, black, red.
You know what's ill? The primary colors, James. The primary tall tees.
That had the tall tee.
The Galaxy.
The Galaxy, that was a
Galaxy with the thick neck.
Galaxy was fire.
No bacon neck. No bacon.
The top tees was trash. I hated top tees.
Tees were trash. That was the one you used to get from USA Blues for like $4 a piece.
USA
Blues demo.
Dr. J.
So, where are you from? New York? You are from Central New Jersey.
Bro, I'm not. But it's okay.
Ain't no Dr. J's in South Brunswick. Ain't no Dr. J's.
No, I didn't shop in South Brunswick. What'd you say, James?
He lived in New York for 2 months. He was like, I'm a New Yorker now.
I feel like everybody who walks over that like side of the state that get a little taste of New York is like they claim it like
I'm from Harlem.
Like
you are not. You're from Sayreville.
It's a fashion thing. It's a fashion thing, bro. It's a fashion thing.
Before we get too far, let me explain to y'all why I decided to become a Kappa.
Right.
So for me, this is gonna be another corny answer. I wanted y'all to get the juicy answer. I knew mine was whack. So I only have one sister. I don't have any brothers, and it was like I was like, what is gonna take the time? What's gonna replace basketball in my life now that I'm not playing college ball? Like, I didn't think about it so linear, but I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then I got cool with Cleveland and Alonzo and Chris, who happened to bring us into the fold. And we went to this, I don't know if y'all remember. I'm gonna say one word, and I don't know if y'all remember this or not. Block it. Remember the block it night?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I remember that night.
Right. So this is when I began to hang with y'all. This was, my first semester and second semester freshman year, it seemed like night and day. First semester, I'm hanging with all my EOP folks. By second semester, I'm hanging with y'all, upperclassmen. We're doing all types of stuff. But it was like, I can really gel with these dudes. And I don't know if I should tell the story now or later, Cleveland, the day that I came to the room and before Zoe came off from. No, we're gonna save that story.
Yeah, we'll save that. That was some real, like, you can't make this shit up type stuff.
There was this real synergy, and it confirmed that, like, oh nah, we're gonna do this. But the genesis of me wanting to be a Kappa was like wanting to be a part of something bigger than me, not having brothers. I feel like strolling. Y'all two convinced me to stroll. I didn't want to stroll at all, and y'all was
That's
like,
true.
So. But yeah, man, we're gonna dive deeper into our Greek experience a little later. But before we do, going over to Zoe for Zoe Knows.
All right, here we go. Zoe Knows. All right, so listen. As y'all know, the last week has been some weird stuff going on. Nothing too crazy on the news cycle, but enough to make Zoe Knows. Let's just say that. First thing. I think last we spoke, we were in the middle of the debates, and it was
Yep.
Kamala versus Pence. The guest star of the night was the Fly. Everybody know
I was
that
chilling.
Fly
My man,
landed on
what
this
they
man.
call him? My man Fly Sean.
Yeah,
My man Fly
Make it a
Sean.
flyer name.
yeah, like it was crazy because the memes was like in a matter of seconds. Like I went in my phone and what they call them, the GIFs, whatever the fuck.
Gifts.
Yeah. So
Gifts.
yeah, them joints was already up. Like they had the Fly already downloaded on this man's hair. So like it kind of distracted us from what like the conversation was. Of course, afterwards, all the right wing folks were talking about Kamala's facial expressions, and which is crazy because
Yep.
current occupancy of the White House is nothing but facial expressions and
Right.
petty childish behavior. So I thought it was a little, of course, hypocritical, but that's like the story of their life.
That's what they do.
So that was that was the thing. We had a couple of little other minor debates. But I advise everyone to YouTube each debate so you know what's going on. Next we had on Sunday. I am a Giants fan, and they were playing the Cowboys, but I felt terrible for Dak Prescott. He had the most disgusting, excruciating injury. Well, one of them, and his bone pretty much popped out his ankle.
I'm glad I didn't see that. I didn't want to. I didn't want to see
Yeah, we
that.
seen it live.
Yeah, me, James, and Chris at Chris' house, and I was like, "Oh my!"
Ew.
And then Chris rewound it.
Y'all watching Cowboys games live? Ew.
It was
Yuck.
Giants Cowboys. I was there. It was the it was the appetizer for what I'm talking about next. So after that injury, you watched that. It was pretty crazy. Prayers to Dak Prescott because that was like just it was crazy.
Especially given his contract, his status.
Mhm.
Exactly. Jerry been BSing him. He's holding out. He's playing games. What's going to happen is this: Dak's going to leave. He's going to go somewhere and win a chip, and Jerry going to be stupid looking as usual. So that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction.
Typical slave owner mentality.
Pretty much.
Tis all.
Yep. So next we have the Lakers are now the official NBA champions. When we last spoke, it was
You're goddamn right. You gotta leave some space for us to breathe, Alonzo.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Do your thing. LA. Sorry, the Los Angeles.
And I want my damn respect too.
Word up. I was gonna bring that up. Like how y'all think people interpreting that?
They hating on it, but I think it's well deserved. I think he needed to say that
because he knows. I just don't want him to fall into the trap that he fell into when he first went to Miami and people were saying whatever they were saying about him, and he was internalizing that and it affected his
he
play.
went dark.
Yeah, so I think he's much more mature now. So he probably just saying it because he got the chip. But he should know like what he accomplished, and obviously you got people who are going to take it away whenever you have someone who can challenge like your superstar, your greatness, right? You have so many people who thought Jordan or thinks Jordan is the GOAT and will always be his GOAT. When you have someone who can challenge that, they will always find ways to knock you down, right? So they always put another goal and obstacle on top of what he needs to accomplish to be considered the GOAT, or even, in Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
But listen.
Now they giving him. Now they giving him the. He's competing for best career ever now.
Yeah, which is some nonsense.
All right,
that's legit. That's legit.
No, it is, but it's a we talk about moral victories or like the consolation trophies, like the participation. That's what they. Let's give him something. I mean, it's worthy. It's worthy. I watched a podcast with Jared Dudley on The Ringer. Jared Dudley was dropping some gems. What he said is, this is to James' point, they hear everything. Like they listen to Skip and Shannon and Stephen A. Like they hear it all. I feel like LeBron is trolling. Like I think he knows he did everything he could. It's more or less like what can you say now? I'm waiting. Go ahead, Kev.
I want to listen to this thing. Congratulations to all the Lakers fans.
Here come the hate.
Here come the hate.
Sprinkle it.
Super congratulations to LeBron. I think he's achieved more greatness. I think he's going to continue to achieve more greatness. It was their year to take. Obviously, I don't think anybody was really going to get in their way. After you see what people were faced with the bubble situation, like it was just their year for sure to take. So I hope more greatness that comes along his way. But this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that he doesn't necessarily have to chase. I think you guys made some great points that they're going to be continuously giving him more challenges to reach until he said he's over and done. So he's never really going to satisfy the crowd. I think him saying that was a weak move, in my opinion. Opinion.
Come on, Kevin A. Smith.
Personal opinion. I think
Kevin A. Smith.
I think him going in there on the mic saying he wants his damn respect too. It kind of shows that you've been playing into their hands long enough. It kind of shows that you've been giving energy to that. It kind of, I get it, you listen, but if you're who you are, then just do what you got to do. I don't think matching or trying to compare himself to Michael Jordan is a realistic approach anymore. I think that's just a waste of conversation. I think we all waste energy and time trying to do that. I think he's his own individual with his own natural ability and talent. Right. I think the career idea is something that I think will fit him better because he is a super sustainable individual from an athletic perspective. So I think he has that he might be able to get 7 chips, right? And he might be able to do that. I don't see him slowing down for the next 3 years. Realistically.
And that's the thing. They're still to your point, they'll still step on it. They'll say, "Oh, it took him 13 tries to get 7." Right. Yeah.
So this was my final. I'm gonna wrap this up a little bit. So my thing is this, right? Don't chase anybody else's legacy. Create this idea that you are this icon that any city you pull up on, you're bringing home that ring. You got to kiss the ring. You're gonna kiss the ring in every city I pull up on. You feel what I'm saying? Like chase that. Because at the end of the day, they're gonna say, you're not MJ because you didn't go 6-0. They're gonna count those finals against you. They're never gonna let you live because you lost a couple finals, right? And that's not what GOATs do in that category, right? When you're comparing that GOAT, right? So create your own GOAT. Create this 20-year, 10-50% chip kind of guy, whatever that is.
Right.
So I think that's his lane. That's where he should go. I think he pull up to New York if he's about that life. Show us.
Bring it
go
on,
to New York.
baby.
Go to New York.
Knicks, not
Brooklyn. You pull up to New York City, bring the Garden a chip.
If he win a chip on the Knicks, he's the GOAT. Fuck that.
You're the GOAT, bro. You're the GOAT.
Kev, so I get what you're saying, right? But with LeBron, the GOAT talk is subjective, right? So no matter what, the GOAT is always going to be whatever you believe and you interpret is the GOAT, right? So I think that's clear and right. So that is what it is. But with LeBron, for some reason, people take away everything that he's done and they act like it's nothing, right? Yeah. I know there's some people that does, but just listen to Skip. It's one thing to say, he's not my GOAT, right? It's another to say he's not my GOAT and make excuses for everything he's done.
We can't fall in this trap.
Yeah. We always do that, right?
James Sharp and Kevin A. Smith. We can't fall in this trap.
James Sharp.
But Kevin makes a good point. It's time to alter the way that we see LeBron. Stop comparing. And one thing I'll say is, I don't know who said this, but it was really good a couple years ago. Comparison is a thief of joy.
But they don't. What's weird? Kev was saying, yo, just be great with who you are. They don't do that with nobody else. With Barkley, with you, even they don't even got rings. They just classify, they one of the greats, and they leave it at that. They never I guess because Jordan got in their way, but they never, even with Magic and Bird.
Because Jordan, to be fair, Jordan is the god, right? When you look at basketball, he took everybody's soul. In the 90s, he took everybody's soul. Nobody wanted to smoke with him, right? So, and even the dudes whose soul he took, they pay homage. You can't tell Chuck
Bill Russell. I don't give a fuck because he got 11 rings during civil rights.
You can't tell Chuck nothing about no Michael Jordan. I don't know Michael Jordan. He's you can't tell Chuck.
It's different.
You can't. He literally on Space Jam, but they put the ball and he took all your powers. Yeah. That's how they feel about Michael Jordan. But anyway, wrap up your admiration for the Lakers so we can kind of get to the.
I'm just happy for him. Shout out to JR. He get back to self, shirt off, acting the fool, and he played about 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Shout out to Danny Green too, because he's they won overall. He won't get no more death threats.
Yeah.
But that was it. The Lakers won. Shout out to them. regardless of whatever excuses people gonna give or discredit or discount the bubble asterisk, they won the chip. It doesn't matter. And then finally, I just want to get everybody to know, as we're getting closer, to please pay attention to the voting things that are going on.
Yes.
Everyone's state is different. Some are doing both in person and mail-in. Some are just strictly mail-in. Please pay attention to which one's which, and also those voting boxes that you're putting it in if you're gonna mail it in, because there's been a lot of weird, well, not really weird, we know what's happening, but they're doing a lot of like sucker shit where they're like switching the box or faking the box and just to get rid of some of the ballots.
All I know is there have been many a men knocked off from putting their ballot in the wrong box, if you know what I mean.
I see what you did there.
Many a men knocked off. Cheating is not good, people. It's not good. Don't cheat.
Not at all. So there you go. That's the result. You get hurt. Play stupid game, win stupid prizes.
I don't know why I like this.
That is like, that's like an old black hymn, right?
It is. So pay attention, please. They playing stupid games, so let them win the stupid prize. Let us do what we have to do. And Google, please. Y'all all got smartphones. Don't be a dumb person with a smartphone, okay? Google, look up, your local, whatever it is that you got to do to vote, and do exactly what is being told.
So I've been so happy to get to talk to y'all. I didn't even ask you how y'all weeks were. So can we briefly go around and tell me how your week was? Starting with my man Bill, aka Kicking It with Cleveland, aka Midweek Motivation. How was your week,
Dollar
bro?
Bill.
My week was great, man. Actually, so my week has me feeling really good. Like I'm feeling really on top of things. But everything is still busy, still hectic. Work is busy. I'm busy at home. Yeah.
The week's been cool.
Fresh back from Aruba. Still got some sand on you.
A little bit, trying to get it off. But no, it was my week's been cool. It's not like being on vacation, but a little bit more relaxed from having a little bit of time away in Aruba. Getting back to work, getting in the swing of things again, but just same old, nothing special, nothing crazy right now anyway. So just moving along.
KV, how about you? How was your week, bro?
Week was cool. I could resonate with Cleveland. Like things feel productive, busy, productive. But this week was a lot more enjoyable than last week. Last week I couldn't breathe. This year, this week I felt like I could breathe a little bit, and kind of like enjoyed it. Maybe a little too much, but I definitely. Mother's birthday's today. Shout out to my mom.
Hey,
happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Yeah. So we'll kind of cake this weekend, so that'd be cool. So.
That's dope. I know you've been pounding the pavement pretty hard in the background. So for you to have a good week, things must be looking up.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Okay, all right.
We'll see.
Positive juju in the air.
How's my man Mamba go? Job's not finished.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bet. So how about you? How was your weekend?
It was
or your week?
Weekend. Yeah, week was cool. Yeah, I mean, weekend was cool. Took the kids pumpkin picking. So went did that. Watched the game with brother Corey over there, and then
You didn't go to the Corey's residence?
No, we were at the Hendy's residence.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Want to make sure you was inclusive of my man James in this union.
Listen, man, I ain't gotta tell me once. Like I got it now. So yeah, we went over there, watched the game. It was a cool weekend, relax. I felt like my youthful self again. I played flag football. I had a great game after my cortisone shot. So
You can't say I feel young and then say cortisone shot.
Cortisone shot made me perform like I was, you know what I mean? So,
I felt a little sober after that shot. Like what?
A little something to loosen it up. But other than that, just chilling, working on the business, man. Just trying to formulate new adventures. So I'm not gonna reveal everything yet, but I'm kicking the door down some new money.
That's what I'm talking about. New money is good.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, James. You was just
I was about to say that. Yeah, new money is kind of like the best money for me anyway.
You mentioned money, and here you want to chime in. And
See.
It's drunk.
Somebody said my name. Like
I was trying to let him get back into the groove. I was trying, I thought we was on the layup lines. I'm trying to let him get back into the groove before we throw some shots at him. Speaking of new money, I'm trying to get some new money my damn self. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, you will see that I'm wearing the sample of my new hoodie. And I got a really, really good response. I don't even like all the things on it. There's still some things I want to tweak. But my week was full of that. Just, just trying to get some market research, see how people feel about things. Got a lot going on between work and side businesses and the podcast. So it was a lot of conversations between us trying to figure out how we can make things official. But it's really just been full of creativity, positive energy. You know what I mean? Taking care of business. If you have a cool name for the day ones, let us know. Let us know how you feel. Right now we're rocking with Jux Fam. Jux Fam is cool, but I know we could do better. So we ask that you all, if you're enjoying the Juxtaposition podcast, please share it. Also go to Apple, iTunes, and give us a rating. Give us all these things help. Go to our YouTube page, our Instagram page, Juxtaposition.Pod. Like things, comment, subscribe, do all those things. It helps us grow, it helps the algorithm, and it allows us to continue to do more and see more of you guys. So we'd appreciate it if you continue your support, and thank you thus far. But with that being said, I want to transition into the segment of the week, the subject of the hour, and that is our membership in Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. But before I go there, I'll give you a brief overview of what we call the Divine Nine. The Divine Nine is 9 historically Black Greek letter fraternities and sororities, starting in 1906 with the Alphas, going into 1908 with the AKAs, over to us, Kappa Alpha Psi, then 1911. Also in 1911 is Omega Psi Phi. 1913, you got Delta Sigma Theta. 1914, you got Phi Beta Sigma. 1920, you got Zeta Phi Beta. 1922, you got Sigma Gamma Rho. And way over in 1963, got Iota Phi Theta. But I'm not here to give an overview over each. I'm just letting you know these are our brothers and sisters in the struggle. Right. Our fraternity was founded in a time where you were on a college campus. You were lucky to see another Black person within a month. It was a turbulent time. Nothing in comparison to what we're going through now, because I think then was a lot worse dealing with Jim Crow. This is pre-Jim Crow. This is segregation. This is real segregation.
Mm-hmm.
So
a few years after slavery,
right? So our fraternity and our organizations are rooted in history. So I wanted to set that context, but that's the fun. That's the serious part. We're here to talk about our times on campus. We're celebrating 15 years. James and Kevin celebrating 14 years in a couple weeks. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how we all met. How James and Kev. Pause for a second. We're gonna go to
how did shine?
Me, Zoe, and Cleveland. Can we tell the people how we decided to embark on this journey at the same time? Cleveland, I'm gonna go to you first.
Man, I feel like y'all have a better memory of it because you dropped the little teaser earlier, and I was trying to run it back in my mind. Here's the way I remember it, and then y'all can correct me if I'm wrong.
Try to block out some of that that heathen lifestyle.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. We wasn't heathens. We was living life.
Righteous.
So,
it was righteous.
I remember there being like an interest meeting. And at the time we were hanging with who was the only Kappa on our campus. We was hanging with him heavy, Chris Indy.
Right.
And I remember there being an interest meeting being scheduled, and I remember being interested, and I was like, man, I'm interested, but like, I don't want to like go around telling everybody that I'm interested, because I thought that was like kind of corny. Like, hey, guess what? I'm interested in Kappa Alpha Psi.
I'm an interest. Just dumbass up. So here's what's going on. We were hanging with Chris already. Y'all had been hanging with Chris anyway. Mm-hmm. I kind of started hanging with y'all. Started hanging with Zoe via basketball. I started coming to y'all room, and none of us had ever talked about wanting to be Kappas at all whatsoever. Yep. I know I could tell you my side of the story. I was in my room. Rider University. I was living in Olson. I went to y'all room looking for Zoe because I was going to tell Zoe, like, yo, I want to be a Kappa. I finally got enough courage to tell Zoe I wanted to be a Kappa because I was like thinking about it, and he wasn't there. He was at work at Foot Locker. But Cleveland was there, so I was like, shit, Cleveland, my man, too. Let me just tell him because I need to get this shit out. So I sat on Zoe's side of the no, it was the bunk beds. I sat down, and I was like, yo, I think I want to be a Kappa, yo. And Cleveland was like, for real? And I was like, yeah. I started talking and being all excited. And then Cleveland reaches around and turns up his speakers because he had the website up and the sound from the speakers was coming from the Kappa Alpha Psi website.
Oh,
and I was
I
was like, yo,
on the national website.
Right. This was an old school joint too. So at that point, me and Cleveland talking about this joint for hours. Then Zoe comes in. Zoe like bursts in like he ain't said nothing. He was like, yo, I gotta tell y'all something. He'd be like, what? He'd like, I want to be a Kappa. It's like, shut up, yo. Like, this can't be real. Like, this, all of this happened in a matter of like 2 hours. And then we called Chris down, and Chris was like, don't play with me, yo. Don't play with me. He was,
so look, let me pick it up from here, right? So it's funny because I was thinking about that shit all the time at work. I'm like, I'm gonna come and tell Cleveland, like, look, I don't know whether you're interested or not, but because we was roommates, so it's like, I might embark on this. You know, I will hope that you join me. So that's why I came all pressed, like I busted in the door, like Urkel used to come in on Family Matters, like
the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, and then Var and I'm like, oh, perfect. So might as well tell you too. And then we did call Chris, which is crazy because Gabe, shout out to Gabe,
I forgot about this part.
Other line brother. He actually, this is how everything comes together. Chris's roommate going into his senior year bailed out on him and moved off campus. They put a freshman with a senior, which is not supposed to happen.
And Gabe was a different type of freshman.
Correct. And the freshman they put with him was Gabe. So anybody out there, listeners who know Gabe, know, you know, that is very different to live with the man. And Chris wound up living with him. So that's how we really got even more close just from that. Because I went to high school with Gabe. So it was like, all right. So we're all cool. So we invite Chris over to the room. And we're like, yo, bro, listen. You the only Kappa on the campus. We don't really know how to tell you this, but we interested. We interested in Kappa life, Greek life. And then, Chris is like, yo, stop playing with me, yo.
He was playing. Like, yeah. Because he said he had like a few lines that didn't work out. Yeah. And he was like, now don't play with me, yo.
He said, I fuck with y'all. If y'all don't go all the way through, like, I ain't gonna fuck with y'all no more. Like, don't even talk to me. Like, what? He's like, no, I'm dead serious, bro. Like, this is serious.
And
like,
then,
I'm not gonna talk.
And then it was from there that we had the interest meeting, Cleveland, and then we met AZ there, and then we met, you know what I mean? Like,
we saw Gabe there. Like, what you doing here?
Right. So just to make sure we don't hog all the time. Now let's talk about how James and Kev met and decided that this was a thing that they wanted to do.
Well, before James go, I'm gonna let James go first. But I just kind of hearing your story, and it sounded like it was all destined to be a thing.
Definitely.
I mean, because you know, as much as I love Gabe, I know Gabe clout went through the roof when he pulled up and.
Yo, Kev. Gabe had clout on credit. We ain't even get to the campus yet, and he had a girlfriend before. Like we crossed one night. That same night, he got a girlfriend.
And the probate.
So that same night, you got a girlfriend.
Yes, the night of the probate, bro.
It was on ice.
All he said was, "Damn, shorty, you know I look fine." And then he had a girlfriend. We like, yo, what the hell? Like, Shabab his ass right to the room.
Shabab.
Chris being the guy that he is, he's kind of seemed like he's always been a solid person, and you know, and who he was, which kind of was just like a great way that it came into a story for you guys. It's kind of cool, man, to hear that, you know. And
facts. Shout out to Kappa Chris.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kappa Chris.
So I guess I'll start it off, but our story is definitely a little different. It wasn't that much destiny in it. It's a little bit of it, but I'll start with a backstory in terms of like how I kind of got interested in Kappa. So when I started to go to college, I kind of told myself like, I'm not doing any type of Greek life type of thing, because in my mind, my perception was all they did was drink. And at the time, like I didn't drink like at all. So I was like, that's not for me. So freshman year, like my first semester, I was just trying to get into the swing of things with college, and then trying to have fun at the same time.
That's what you call it, swing of things.
Yeah, the swing of things. That's how I want to put it. I don't put too much out there. I was trying to get into the swing of things and just have a little bit of fun. So what happened was there was a ton of people who was like interested in another organization, kind of people who we weren't cool, but when you don't have that many black people, you kind of gravitate toward each other until you figure out who you really want to be around. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, so like, all y'all interested in this organization? I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I started looking into organization, like looking into Greek life, like why are people like so interested in Greek life? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, let me look at these things. I kind of looked up Kappa, and I was like, okay, this kind of seems interesting. But at the time, I didn't know any Kappas, right? Because Devon wasn't really on campus. I think he might have still been overseas at that time, and y'all was just probably just crossing, and y'all didn't really come to TCNJ like that at that point in time. So I was like, oh, it kind of seems cool. Maybe I'll look into it, see if I can meet somebody. But then I seen Devon come into it's called ICOF, which is like a dining hall for underclassmen at TCNJ.
Came through with a bow tie and corduroys and penny loafers.
Yes, that's exactly what's his outfit. That was his exact outfit. And you got to put this into perspective. This is like the beginning of the spring semester, and this is in 2006. In 2006, right? So coming from where I come from, you don't see someone dressed like that. And I'm like, who is this corny? Like, what is going on right now?
Looking like the Black Ernie Johnson.
Yes, I don't know who he is. And I'm like, all right, there's a Meet the Greeks at this point. And this is when y'all all come over to TCNJ, set up everything. And I'm talking to my roommate at the time. And I'm like, well, not my roommate. He became my roommate, but a friend of mine. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm kind of interested. I'm going to go over and kind of talk to him. So I went over to the table, talked to Devon, signed my name up, let him know, I think I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to get some information. From that point on, Devon just automatically made me a Kappa interest. Like, I was just like, like, yeah, right? Like, oh, you got it. So I'm like, bro, hold on, calm down. Like, I'm just trying to get into, I just want to see what it's about, this and that. And I still didn't really know y'all like that, right? I only knew Devon because he went to TCNJ. Mm-hmm. So this is when I met Kev around that same semester, because we were taking calc that semester. And I remember I told the story in this podcast when he had walked in, and I'm like sitting there, the girls and stuff. And he walked in and they all was like, oh, who that? I'm like, damn, it's some bullshit. But after that, like we had to do like work on some assignments, whatever. And we told him like, yeah, we're gonna be at the library, whatever, just come through. So afterwards, I don't know if Kev remember this. I was like, yeah, I'm about to go to an interest meet for Kappa. And he was like, oh, word? Like, I kind of thought about doing that when I was at Morgan. I was like, oh, well, it's this time, like, just come through if you want. So that was kind of a little bit of, I guess, destiny, if you will. And then with our other line brother, what's crazy is that, like, Woody, freshman year is someone I probably would have never hung out with. Like, our personalities, at least because I didn't know him and he didn't know me. Like, we all just knew of interpretation of what we thought we were until, like, we came to the interest meeting. And I was like, wait, what, are you interested in this? Like, why are you here? Like, I didn't think you'd be interested.
That's my guy.
Right? It didn't seem like, yeah, right? He didn't seem like Kappa was for him. So that's kind of like the backstory of that. And then what happened was, once we went to the interest meeting, we kind of became interest, if you will. And then that's when I met Ya. Right? And that's when Ya was the biggest assholes I could ever come across.
Talk about VAR. Go ahead and tell VAR about himself.
Well, no, not yet. Let Kev eat.
I was ending there though. No, I was gonna end there for now and get back to it. But that's when I was like, yo, these dudes are the biggest assholes. I'm like, do I really want to do this?
Yo, I remember that night. Yo, but a quick story about Woody, y'all, the line brother. So I knew there was another interest or someone who was going to potentially be on y'all line named Woody. Everybody kept saying, yeah, it's Kev James and it's this dude named Woody. And I'm like, all right, cool. So
Only Woody in New Jersey.
First times I actually got to see all three of y'all together, I walk into the room and there's Woody, right? But the crazy thing is, Woody and I grew up in the same exact neighborhood on the same street. Like, we both lived in Sicklerville on Pinewood Lane in the P section. Like,
P section.
Making fake projects out of the fucking fake projects out of South Jersey.
P section, boy. Primrose Gate.
Rub your click.
So, like, when I saw him, I'm like, oh, this is Woody. Like, I know this guy. Yo, Woody literally grew up in the same street as me, little Woodrow. So I was shocked to see him there. But that was just neither here nor there. Just wanted to put that in there.
That's good, see.
Yeah, everything, James said was pretty on point, in terms of when we kind of cross our paths. And I'm not going to take you guys too far past that or before that, but I'll just tell you, like I said, when James and I met, it's like you kind of get that feeling like, this is going to be your guy. Like, you get that feeling like, this is a thing. So, we like you said, like how you introduced Woody, it was kind of same for me. I didn't. He was just kind of to himself. So kind of let Woody kind of be himself. It was, like to James' point about you guys, I'm just kind of like trying to piggyback, so I don't take it too far back. But yeah, I didn't really have a bad perception of y'all. Like, y'all really, maybe it was just because, I really rolled the interest thing out, like, to be 100 with y'all. Like, I was kind of like really trying to get a feel for things, really trying to understand, what this was about. I was trying to learn. I was trying to observe. So I was coming to like interest us, like gatherings and come to cookouts. Shout out to I know this is gonna be a name that may not get too much love, but I definitely got love for this guy. Talk about Rob.
Oh Lord.
Wrinkly Rob. Shout out to Wrinkly Rob.
That's my man. Look, he was a good guy for the idea of how he introduced me. He brought me in, man. He really was. He wanted to see me succeed, and I thought that was kind of special.
The reason why nobody wanted to smoke with Kev is because that first event you came to, you had a dog with you. I'm like, I'm not fucking with this guy.
Oh yeah, Which event? Like, which event was that?
It was at Devon's house. It was the very first time that, like, I met you via the interest meeting, but like, it was a lot of people there who didn't make the cut, so to speak. But I was like, you brought a dog. I ain't fucking with this guy.
Kev Vic, that's why. Kev was also like 25 pounds heavier, solid muscle, walking in there ready to not run through walls and shit.
Kev was like solid walking up, still playing football.
So the interest meeting was before you joined at Devon's house?
Yeah.
Because I don't know why my first memory of James is at Devon's house with a Bluetooth on. But it was like, nah, I ain't even throw no shade. Like, it was lit. I'm like, yo, what's that in your ear? Is that heavy?
No, listen, I know it sounds weird now, but Bluetooth was like very new technology.
That was state of the art.
Yes.
AirPods before AirPods.
State of the art.
Yes.
So my thing was, I didn't have a perception of y'all. I know y'all took that around with that. I'll let y'all. I wanted y'all to enjoy that moment. I hope y'all.
I appreciate it.
I hope y'all reconnected.
Nah, I'm gonna tell a story how I hated y'all.
So my thing was, look, I didn't hate y'all. I
didn't hate James, but I figured when Devon brought James, like, yo, he gonna hand out these flyers. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Like, Alonzo, I'm not allowing you to throw an alley-oop for me to get dunked on. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. He tried to, Cleveland. You see what he tried to do? Because that's the time that James says that I said something to him that I didn't say.
He did.
But Zoe tried to throw the alley-oop to James so I could get dunked on. We're not doing that yet.
I don't know anything about that. All I know is what I saw was a man with a Bluetooth coming over there, the big ass white tee, and I'm like, all right.
Oh man.
Where we're going now is, let's talk about stereotypes of Kappa Alpha Psi before you became one, and then we're going to get into how we were when we became those folks. So, any perception on stereotypes of Kappa Alpha Psi before you became a member?
Only what other people told me, to be honest. Like, I was new to Greek life altogether. I knew nothing about Greek life. I didn't even notice there were Kappas in the intro of A Different World until after I found out what Greek life was when I came to college. So I didn't know anything about it. But then like once I got interested, it was like everybody was telling me what a Kappa is like. Oh, they're pretty boys. You know what I mean? All of them are light skinned with curly hair.
Yeah.
I'm like, all of them though? Like
I got
every
curly
Kappa is
hair.
light skinned with curly hair. So like, yeah, that was the thing. Like pretty boys. That was the biggest one for me.
Same. I feel that. James, how about you? I know you said you had exposure to what Greek life at least looked like before you got to college, right?
I mean a little because there was a ton of people from Passaic who went to TCNJ and
all cousins.
Cousins, SG Rose,
LTA.
LTAs. It was a ton. So my thing was when I kind of became interested in a little bit of it, it was always, oh yeah, they, like Cleveland said, pretty boys, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't, and I kind of take offense to this a little bit because it never was like, oh, they're about their business or they throwing great programs or like that never comes up. But that doesn't come up for any organization. It's always a perception about a look.
Correct.
For some reason, for every organization.
Remember we talked about how can you tell if I went to Alonzo and say like, yo, tell my girl that I was nice in basketball, and he's like, well, he had good rebounding. Yeah. We only say that they had good program if they was ugly. That's all. If they was ugly, their programs was good though.
Yeah, telling a Greek org that they had good programming when you describe them is the equivalent of like when you ask one of your homegirls, like, yo, you got a friend for me? Yeah, what's she like? Oh, she nice. I ain't asked you how she was. I asked her what she looked like, and you don't tell me how she is. Like,
and for the record, before anybody starts to act crazy, we won 2 chapters of the year in the Northeastern Province, so we was about our business. But we also were, we're the pick of the litter, as one would say.
So when I told people like, my like little close friends, female friends that I had, it's like, yeah, I think I'm interested in being a Kappa. It was like, oh yeah, I can see that fits you. It's like I took a little compliment there, that little subtle compliment. So it's like, all right.
I heard that you conceited, you're gonna think you all that, and I'm like,
I already do. That's from Alonzo's voice. I already do.
I ain't say that, but I was thinking it like, all right.
See, Zoe was on campus. I remember Cleveland it was my freshman year. Zoe was doing what was it? A bench press contest.
Yeah.
The bench squat competition.
I remember that.
Yeah, Zoe was walking around campus with a shirt off for no reason.
Shirt off, white beater.
I was the strongest, skinniest nigga anybody ever seen in their life.
All right, James, get to your wrong story about how.
It fits the stereotype of what we just talked about. Yeah, I was arrogant, conceited, stuck up.
Not true at all. You know that.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Nah, but this is part blame is Devon too though, because Devon, when I said I was interested, he kind of like tried to like make me like his protege, if you will. He just brought me along everywhere. And I was like, I don't go, like, I don't care. But it gave the perception as if I was trying to tag along. Right. Because he wasn't telling anybody, I guess, this is the communication part of it. It wasn't there. So it made the perception, and I get that now. But like, we about to go to Ryder after like some program that I was at TCNJ, and Devon was like, yo, we're going to go to Ryder to a party.
Not true.
Very true. And we was coming out the student center of TCNJ, and I'm walking, and here comes VAR, Mr. Varcinio, like, yo, Devon, what are you doing? And he like, what? He was like, he coming to the party. He was like, what do you mean? How he getting it? He not getting our car.
Our car.
This nigga said our car.
He said he changes. He changes the story every time.
Nah, I'm like, yo. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, first of all, I got my own car. Like, I can drive myself there. Like, I don't need to get in y'all shit. Like, I'm
depending on what month it was, I don't know if I had my own at that point. If it was October, I probably did. If it was November, I probably didn't.
I'm like, damn, that was one. Two, there was a step show at TCNJ, and Devon told me to come, whatever, chill, this and that. I'm thinking I even invited like some friends from back home to come through, watch the step show, this and that. And then these niggas like, yo, here's these flyers, go pass these out and just walk away. Like, don't like
Who
nothing.
is
like
these? Did
it was
I don't
everyone,
remember.
Devon was the one who kind of like make it seem nice and subtle and, hey, can you do us this favor? But right? 'Cause that's kind of how it was. But
Yeah.
everybody else was like, yo, just go ahead and pass these out, man.
But not to get into too much detail. Now let's transition to when we all are Kappas. This is post follow 6. You know, we're in the mix. We're all a part of Eta Delta. Let's talk about how it was working with, this is our first time really working in an organization with other men. Like, let's talk about like what it was like to like become a chapter and like gel together like we did.
I think it was like a true like brotherhood, if you will. Not in a corny sense, but like more like a family. Like when you argue, you fight, but you still have love, right? Because you definitely had Zoe was just cursing people out for no reason.
Damn,
Bro, you came in 2 minutes late to the chapter. What the fuck you been at? We was waiting.
$5 fine.
Word up, I was hitting these. I'll take a series. Let's go.
But you know, and I think that brought like, you know, having those type of conversations within our chapter meetings and the relationship that we had with each other, that kind of helped us make better programs. That helped us be on top of each other, right? To make sure that we handle the things that we had to handle, which ultimately helped us win chapter of the year.
But I think I want to hear from Kev, because Kev has been, I think, like marching to the beat of his own drum since the day I met him. So Kev, talk to me about like joining an organization that has quote unquote rules and we do certain things. We got these parameters. How did you feel coming into Eta Delta with you being more of your free spirit type vibe?
Well, I was going to say the perception thing for me was that, you know, of course it had that linger of pretty boy idea, had that concept, but it wasn't so much for that attracted me. I just felt like one thing I appreciated was the professionalism, which it sounds weird. That's what kind of drew my attention when like Kappas would get on the yard. It's at Morgan, like on Wednesdays, all the Greek organizations would kind of like come on the yard and everybody would kind of like stay at their clock or stay at their rock and kind of like represent. But like Nupes were always dressed up, like had a suit on, had the dress tie on. So that exemplified to me at the moment was they're about their business. Like these guys are really in college trying to like become successful. These guys represent success in my mind, right? So that kind of what was the allure for me that drew me in. And, you know, of course, I think all of us kind of wanted to be successful, but that attraction is what kind of like had me wanting to be part of that organization. I didn't want to like be known as a dude who wear boots and hopped around. Not saying anything wrong with that, but that wasn't my energy, you know. But you know, like represent yourself well was kind of the aura that was the thing. And I wanted to say my first encounter with Shaw was at Princeton at that Lights Camera Action party. That was my first time.
Yep, that's the one we was talking about. Yeah,
that was my first pull up. That was my first time experiencing y'all owned environment, where I was able to say, okay, these are that guys. You guys represented yourselves as those guys. Like you guys had that. So I think that was something that the idea of, you know, okay, I think we all share that same kind of vibe. So that was what that was, right? But for me, it was like, again, I wasn't 100% committed until the day before on August. I think it was 9th. I think it was 9th. It was like that. It was like literally the first day when we pulled up at Ryder in the basement. It was the first thing when I said, I guess this is what I'm doing.
That is funny. Like, all right, I'm here.
I guess this is what this is. And I rolled that out.
That day was funny. Because you know when he came dressed to the nines, boy. Not literally, but they had the gear on and stuff trying to impress.
Oh, Corey was like, oh, y'all got Jordans?
Wow. The funny thing was, I look at it and like how we were all functioning as a chapter. It was like, for me, as y'all heard, like I was strictly business. I was on point. I just think because of the sacrifice, but I enjoyed going to the meetings. I enjoyed stuff because, so like, I don't have any brothers for real. Var, you don't have any brothers. Kev, you don't have any. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You have two twin sisters. James, you got sisters. So here we are. Cleveland has a brother. Woody has a brother. Everybody else is, you know, Gabe has a sister. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a brother. Right. So for us, we were each other's brothers for real because we didn't have one at the house.
Right.
And I just made it closer. And then, I mean, before that, me and Cleveland, I was his brother on campus. Like, we lived together. We did everything. It was
y'all
cool.
dodge bullets together.
Literally.
Yo, yeah.
Literally dodge bullets, like by the grace of a step and the grace of God. Like, so I think that's really what made our situation unique, because we came in literally seeking brotherhood, not just on some, oh, it sounds good.
Yeah, like
or
no
it's the cool,
superficial
yeah,
vibe,
it's the
right.
cool thing to say. Like we each had our own gel, and like, you know, we came together from whatever is basketball or you know, just chilling or getting to know somebody, what, you know, from parties or common, you know, oh, Woody knew Cleveland, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think for us, like, working together. Now, for me, I was the only child for 10 years, so maybe I did show that a little bit during the meetings sometimes.
Maybe.
Maybe I showed a little bit of that. So, you know.
So backing up, I don't even know if I knew that Kappas or being a Kappa was that cool until we became those guys. It was like, oh, I didn't even know the benefits you would get. Like, we used to, for context, back in 05 to 08, social media was brand new. We had to go and have a presence on college campuses all over the state of New Jersey, literally driving up and down. On the Tuesday, we had Willie P. On the Wednesday, we had Montclair. And for these campuses that didn't have Greek life, we felt like the Beatles. We walk on campus and it's like,
the Beatles.
You look behind you like, who they screaming for? It's like, oh, this for us?
That's real life.
That's so true, though.
That's real life.
That's
and I know true. I didn't, and you know, I didn't, like I said, not knowing much about Greek life, I never knew it came with a fan club to the extent of that. And I don't
humbly, respectfully,
but I don't. It was never the reason to be a part. I never even knew that was a thing that came with that in real time. Like at the time, you know, I didn't know that. I just didn't know that was a thing, and it was like a whole new world, bro. A whole new world. Like you walk in, like you mentioned, to different campuses, and like the love and attention you get was almost like you would have thought you had on a Duke logo on with a check sign.
I didn't know what to do with it.
I
learned from Alonzo. Tell us what you do with it, Alonzo. What you do with your fame?
I just chill, man. That's it. I just chill. I put it in the
box.
Nah, man. Let's I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in because I think a lot of us already were that in our own spaces, you know, and we all knew how to handle that, obviously. But it was just that's why it worked so perfectly for me in my perception, because we all came from our own leadership perspective of whatever world we came from. Like we kind of were trained. We had training. We had some prior training that kind of prepared us for that. And as wild as that was, I can honestly say we were that. Like none of us were like extremely wild. None of us over abused power. None of us are like that egotistical. None of us was like super narcissistic. It was just like a natural, organic flow of this is who we are, this is what we want to do, and whatever came with that, we just handled it how it was supposed to be handled, you know, from my perspective.
Or as a song that was out at the time that is relevant to this conversation. This is why I'm hot. That's pretty much what.
I thought you were going to say Money in the Bank, because that's what James got.
No, that's James. We ain't get to
that. Oh, there we go.
Remember, you just talk about our car, nigga. We just talk about Money in the Bank.
Yo, I think what it was too was shown through is just that like we legitimately respected each other. Yes. Like it wasn't compared to some other orgs, it still wasn't a whole lot of us in Fall 05 and Fall 06 compared to some other organizations. Like, so you went from in 2000 having a presence with a few guys, and then you went for in 2003 it was really just one, right? Because it was really just Chris until Devon came back from Iraq, and then here comes 05 and 06 like back to back, and it's like, oh wow, so now you got 8. Well, yeah, I'll say ish 7-ish,
you know.
But But I just say that to say, like, I think a lot of the vibe that people were seeing was just that we actually respected each other, like as men and whatever we were doing prior to joining. Well, y'all didn't know it was prior to joining, but you know what I mean.
I feel safe now that we've gotten the humility out the way. Let's talk about, man, look,
Go ahead, bro. You probably gonna
405,
say exactly what I'm about to say.
406, the Kappa Alpha Psi, to this day in New Jersey was built on the backs of these 5 brothers on this call. I feel like we were, when you kind of have a good foundation and you go out in the world and you take over, that was us. If you ever heard of a Nupe Jersey barbecue, that was us. If you ever heard of a pajama party in Mercer County, that was us. We laid the foundation personally to know what it means to like have every aspect of Greek life and not wild out.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't wild out. And I just think that it's time. Like sometimes you got to stop and smell your flowers. And 15 years in, I can still see our influence right now in our area of Kappa Alpha Psi.
Well,
Bro,
that's
when you
because,
said,
go ahead.
real quick though, when you said that, like, if you ever been to a pajama party in Mercer County, it just brought back. So when I was in Atlanta for my one of my boys I grew up with, like his birthday, he moved down there. His girl is actually from the Trenton area.
Okay.
Right. So when we was talking, I was like, I went to TCNJ, this and that, and started talking about like the areas where we party, how we kind of do some parties at Maxine's and the War Memorial. She was like, wait, the War Memorial. She was like, that was y'all parties. I'm like, yes, that was our parties. She was like, oh my god. I'm like, yeah, that was our parties.
Bro, on top of that,
James, like, I ain't worked the door, but I was there though.
James was at the door. Hey, I just say that our affiliation was always solid around the city, man.
Solid.
Even blood,
the Bloods fucked with us.
The Lights Camera Action Party. My cousins still talk about that party. They drove down from Willie P to come to that joint. We had on matching maroon dress shirts and ties. You remember that joint?
We got it from the Eyes Out outlet.
We got it from the Eyes Out outlet. We had a matching maroon shirts and ties. And I remember after the party, this blood came up to us. I mean, I don't know if he was legit or not. He was like, yo, if anybody mess with y'all, tell him I'm cool with y'all. I'm cool with the cabin. I don't want to drop names just if you really into some stuff, but apparently he was legit. Yo, it was crazy because like people.
That was our first party, yo.
That was our first party, and we was in the party, of course, throwing the diamond. The Bloods was in the party throwing what they throw, but it was no drama though. The only drama was from people trying to get in who couldn't get in. That was it.
Well, if you remember, we couldn't even get in.
Yeah, fire marshal came and was like, no, but our name is on the building right now. Like, nah, nigga,
my fault. So we keep stepping on you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So to sum up, I'm glad y'all said everything y'all said, and I fell back because I'm gonna say this, right? A lot of our wave, like how you say you ride the wave, we put in that work. We bust our behind to give programs and events that obviously were instrumental and monumental because they're on the 10th, 11th, 12th annual. They're still doing them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But me personally, on some like, this is like humble shit. I just think that everything has a timing, right? So it was just our time. Like, and I say that because there was another organization that was running the state, so to speak.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily know, like they were doing their thing and kudos to them, but I just think it was our time, something new. It's like the shiny new toy.
Mm-hmm.
And we
took it and ran with it.
Exactly. We capitalized off the shiny new toy. And again, on these campuses that we traveled, they didn't have Kappa at all. So it was the shiny new toy that traveled. Like get to share this toy because they got it and they got it and they got it for a day. So
you know what it was like? It was like when you used to Walmart all of your videos and then Target come to town. You like Target's here? Yo, we was Target. Yo, we was Target. We was Target.
That's dope that you say that, Dozo, because I felt like the moment that it was like hours, like that Golden State run was like, oh yeah, these dudes are for real.
Yes,
was when Gucci Man came out.
Freaky Girl.
that was like the bomb that was just like, it's theirs. Like,
you know what,
y'all
Kev?
got it.
You know what, Kev? Even right
Right.
before that, you specifically had a real hand in that transition because you went to ATL Greek in 07 and you went down there and you was like, it was like the gold rush. He was like, we got to go back.
Word.
And then we went back in the weight. Yeah.
We got to go back. He's like, he was like, it's different.
Different. Yo, actually, that's interesting, man. That summer, I remember that. That was Rob. Rob's gonna have to get a shout out.
Okay.
Double R.
He called me like, yo, what are you doing? I said, man, just getting out of summer class. He was like, yo, we going to Atlanta. Meet me at the crib. And I asked no other questions. I just hopped in, pulled up. It was a big ass bus that we pulled up to, drove us down there, and came back. And that's when I saw. It was like they and I was like, wow. It was like a little taste of like gold, like you mentioned, man.
Bro.
You know, we came back to that, but I felt like, man, we definitely right. There was definitely a timing, and we lived in that moment, and you know, it's just a cool experience to say the least.
Yeah,
it was fire.
And I think that let's talk more about. We talked about what Kappa gave to us. I mean, what we experienced with Kappa Alpha Psi, but let's talk about what we got from Kappa outside of socially. Like, what are some things that being a Kappa has afforded you that you can't live without these days?
I could go first on that. I would say two things. One, like, I think that brotherhood thing, like that's real to me. Like, I feel like if I have an event or do something that's not specifically for me and my wife, then it's like, if my bro's not there, somebody gotta be there. Like, if Jane's not there or Chris not there, somebody who around, like, it's just weird. Yeah, I mean, it feels awkward without it. But I will say, the networking, although everyone gives that political answer, like, I'm grateful that Kappa brought me to other non-Kappas friendship, like other Greek organizations, Lance, Ty, Miguel. Shout out to Miguel. You know what I mean? Because these are people that, like, I F with them, you know what I mean? And Vaughn, you know, our Sans.
Right. Dr. Vaughn.
Yes, correct. Dr. Vaughn. Like, they're in different organizations, and I'm like, they're like my bros too. Like, they ride for me the same. And I noticed this when I was in altercations, of course, being me. But, like, when I seen, like, Tremaine, well, I knew Tremaine since, like, 7th, 8th grade. So, like, you know what I mean? Tremaine Reed, shout out to Tremaine. But, like, when he decided, like, yo, this is my friend versus, like, an organizational thing.
Right.
And then when I got into other altercations with other organizations and then people rallied behind me, I was like, oh, this is real. Like, they really F with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I F with them too. So I think
it was one of those vibes where it's like, we beef with each other on this campus, but nobody else.
You can't come up in the house.
Through.
You can't come in the house talking greasy like, oh, you got nappy hair. Like, nigga, I say that. You don't say that. So I think but that, as a youth in my early 20s, 19, 20, built the relationships that I have now.
Facts.
For the people, like, that are not in Kappa, including sororities as well.
I feel like Kappa gave me y'all. And I can stand firm and confidently saying that y'all are the best friends that I probably have ever had and probably will ever have. And I think y'all can say thank you whenever you want.
Oh yeah.
I was waiting for the crickets, man. You supposed to stay quiet. No, you supposed to.
Yo, you the host. We gotta let you air dry.
I just wanted to leave some space. Space for y'all. That's all.
We did that to Vaughn on his birthday too.
Let that air out.
We was like, yo, okay. We too respectful. That's the point. Like,
we let you finish your thought.
Just to chime in.
I told y'all niggas to interrupt me when it's a good.
Thank you, brother Roy.
But on some real stuff, like, I think I got brotherhood and leadership from Kappa. I learned, like Kev mentioned earlier, we all were very well established in our own lanes before we became Kappas. But I think Kappa taught me how to be a leader, how to take that momentum and, like, do something with it, and how to, like, lead other young men, because you got to think, we was all 18, 19, having to have deference for somebody who is the same age as you, but has
maybe
a
older.
position, right? Or maybe older, that has a position to say, here's what you should be doing. Here's what you want to be doing at a given time. And even when we're in chapter meetings, we got to have deference to the president of the hallmark of the chapter. But nah, I'm gonna pass the ball to Cleveland. Tell me what you got.
Man, a couple things. I think so. The first thing I got is it broke me out of my shell in terms of like letting people be close to me. Like I never really had friends outside of my family because I went to a small high school, like 5 black people. I think, well, actually like 12 black people total in the graduating class. So small high school, and then I get to Ryder again. It's small, a small group of black folks. So the people that I hung with the most were my family. So like joining the organization, even prior to just connecting with Zoe, with Chris, with VAR prior to joining the organization, kind of helped me open myself up to having friends outside of the friends that I was used to seeing for my life. And then of course being able to meet Kev and James, like was just like icing on the cake as well. Like, and they just knowing that there are like cool, like-minded individuals out there that you could like relate to, you know what I mean? Outside of what you were used to. So that's what it taught me. But the second thing, and probably one of the biggest things, is it taught me that you're representing more than yourself. We had like a code of conduct when we had like letters on. It was like certain stuff you couldn't do, certain stuff you couldn't say, whatever. And I never thought about life in that way before. Like, oh, I'm representing more than just Cleveland right now. I'm representing this organization right now. And that has really stuck with me, because even if you apply it down to like your own personal family, like, you know what I mean? Like you go somewhere as a husband, it's like, I'm representing my wife. Like how I act when my wife ain't around kind of is a reflection of our relationship and what we have established. So it's just something that stuck with me. Those two things.
You a good husband. That was good.
I know you over here trying to make people feel terrible.
How he take this whole Kappa conversation was like, baby, I love you, just so you know. Just so you know.
That's that newlywed shit.
James, how about you?
Well, I kind of thought that the networking part of it was going to be a little bit bigger, and that was like a thing that was like, well, I want to make sure that I'm set up when I graduate college, so someone's going to give me a job, right?
Right.
That was the ignorant thought that I had, because clearly understanding it now, networking is more than just being part of an organization, someone just handing you something, right? That's something that's a two-way street. You really have to go out there and put yourself out there. Something that I wasn't used to doing. It's something that I had to grow into. But I think for me, after I joined Kappa, besides the whole friendship that I gained from everyone that I met, I think it actually helped me mature faster and to a level that I needed to be at while I was in college to be successful. Because it put me in a position where I had to kind of be on my best, if you will, running programs, thinking of things outside the box that's going to separate us from other people, other organizations. How can we stay on top, right? Putting me in somewhat of a leadership role.
Cutting your hair.
Cutting my hair. That was going to happen anyway, but cutting my hair. It just allowed me to mature in a way that I know I needed to mature. And I think it escalated that a little bit quicker, which was a good thing, because I think if I probably was an organization, it took me a little bit longer to mature and probably would have stunted my growth a little bit. So it definitely accelerated that growth for me.
Jen, shout out to you for preaching about the networking, because I think I felt the same. I had one moment to me, guys, that felt like I never want this experience to happen to anybody else, where I depended on the shield, say if you will, for a networking opportunity, and it fell through. And it kind of left a thing on me where just like, I never wanted to be a part of this organization and not be able to help anybody. And it kind of like, it left a mark on me where I just never wanted anyone to have to experience what I had to experience in that way. So I thought, jumping into a network organization, you're almost good to go. Like, you can cross and you still throw the yo, and you might say some things, and you're solid. But I had experience where it just didn't work out that way, and part of it was my fault because I didn't keep up either. I didn't build a relationship. I didn't communicate a relationship. I just expected it to be a thing, and that was my fault. I definitely hold that accountability, and I would tell anybody who is a part of an organization in our chapter or anybody else that. That don't reach out. You can't expect anybody to do anything for you.
That's
just
a fact.
That's a fact.
That's not how that works. So but it was a learning process. But so to saying that, I also want to make sure that I always remain open and available, and however I'm able to. So but yeah, that was a big part of the perception of joining an organization that I took away from it before jumping into that opportunity comes with that. It comes with this super networking, glorified credit card type of thing where I can just swipe anywhere I go.
Also, shout out to brother AJ for all that he does for us, making the you said people who follow you. He put our ads on our YouTube page. If you see our YouTube page, it is drastically improved. We're improving each and every time. Mm-hmm. To wrap up the Kappa Alpha Psi section, in one word, just give me the one word to encapsulate your Kappa experience from Follow 5 or Follow 6 till now. Just one word.
On the spot.
Oh, I thought that was your word, James. I thought that was James.
That's three words. That's
right. Just the sound that he made. Like thinking back to some old times, he said,
"Don't get in trouble now. Don't get in trouble now."
Nah.
Like, don't say nothing like wet or.
So who's going first?
Stars.
Stars. I like it. No power. We talking about with an S, not a Z.
I would say, being that I'm a Knicks fan, I'm going to go with the Walt Frazier word, auspicious. That's I don't know. It got to be some weird word that most people don't know what it looked like on paper. That's how I feel. I got my money's worth. So and it's like a never ending benefit. So I would say auspicious.
How about you, Brother Cleveland?
Man, I'm struggling with just one. I'm just going to say special. I guess the best way to put it was just special.
There you go, complimenting your wife again. Wait, did we just tell you?
Are we talking slow special or
Nah.
No, we talk about Harlem Shake G-Dep special delivery special.
Oh, okay.
We made some decisions that was special.
We did.
When we was on.
I'm gonna take the low-hanging fruit. I thought one of y'all was gonna say it, but achievement. Achievement. I feel like I had. It's like a level. It's like you're playing like a video game, and each level you get better and you better and better and better. Mm-hmm. I feel like each stage in being a Kappa, you get better. You start at home, then you get a little wider, and you start to your network begins to increase, and you kind of look up. You're like, dang, it's 15 years, bro.
And all you did was get embedded.
And that's my word.
Help us join the troop. Your word is embedded.
Is growth. Growth.
Okay. Growth is good.
Yeah, because James thought he was going to die when you made him cut his hair. And he thought he was Samson. Go ahead, Cleveland. Tell him about Samson.
That was a moment that I just felt like
of clarity.
Enough was enough. I want to do prior to it. I was like, man, I want to do things. I want to do things on my time, and that wasn't a quote unquote process on how things worked.
Kind of opposite of Kappa. We're gonna tell you what to do.
Facts. Kev, did you go?
Yeah, I tried to jump at James. I told stars, but I would say goats if you had asked me personally.
Okay.
Goats. Since that's a big topic, right? Conversation.
Since we're here, right.
Speaking of goats, shifted over to my man, the midweek master, motivational man, Bill, aka Kicking It with Cleveland. for the motivational moment. Go ahead, bro.
So this week I want to talk about the concept of know your role. There's a concept out there that we all have heard.
Jabroni. You got to add jabroni at that.
Exactly. Know your role. So this week we got to witness the Lakers win a championship. And the best thing about the NBA playoffs, so congrats to all the Lakers fans, but the best thing about the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals is you get to see the importance and the impact of who we deem to be stars, so LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And we also get to see the importance and the impacts of who we call role players, so KCP, Rondo, Morris, Caruso. So what's funny is that we're celebrating these guys and the impact that they had on the game. And it's wonderful that we can celebrate their contribution because we live in a culture where we like to celebrate the people who we deem as stars. And what's cool is that KCP, Dwight Howard, Caruso, all of these guys who we deem to be role players have all benefited and reached the same goal as an Anthony Davis and as LeBron James. And they did it just by doing what they do best. So they didn't change their game. They didn't try to be a quote unquote star. They just played their roles and were a role player. And now they have a championship. And I think what's awesome about that is a lot of times we hear the phrase know your role or stay in your lane, and it comes with a condescending tone, but it's actually really good advice when you think about it. If you know your role and you know who you are, if you stay in your lane and you try to master the things that you're good at, you will eventually be on the right team at the right time and achieve a goal. In this case is a championship. So my encouragement is for everyone to continue to know your role, continue to stay in your lane, continue to build on the things that you know that you're naturally good at. And in doing that, you will be able to achieve the goal that you have in your life. And when people begin to tell you to stay in your lane or to know your role, you can own that and know that take it as good advice instead of taking it as a condescending comment. And when you really start to function at a high level, there may be some haters that come along and say, oh, you're not a star, you're a role player. But always remember, if you're hanging around stars, then you in fact are a star in yourself. So my motivation is keep focusing on the things that you do well, keep focusing on the things that you best, keep staying in your lane and keep knowing your role and watch success come.
Know your role, jabroni. Stay in your lane.
And what Cleveland said is your network determines your net worth.
Ooh, hit him. Anybody else got any catchphrases? Look.
I go from night to night.
Yo, fine.
Catabucha.
Yo, straight up. See, that's
what
good.
Love good.
What you say, Alonzo? Money? Speaking of money, we're going over to bag talk with
money in the bank. James, what you think?
Money bag, window of opportunity, Passaic picks, you name it. You name it. We got it for you. It's on you, bro.
So I'm coming today with a new stock pick, but just a little bit of background on the market. From September and October, and then moving forward. So just to start with a little bit of background. So September, it was kind of like a volatile month for stocks overall. The S&P 500 lost about 4%. But historically, September is usually not a good month for stocks in general, for whatever reason. It's just never really a good month. So you've probably seen within your portfolio, you might have lost a little bit of money. But of course, always stay the course. But moving into October, we still kind of see some hiccups in terms of the market. And one of the primary reasons is because, one, the economy, and two, the election that's coming up, right? Anytime you're in an election year, it's going to affect the market, whether, good or bad. Most of the time it's bad because there's change, there's uncertainty that's coming up. So you're going to see a little bit of hit in the market. And then the economy with coronavirus is not doing too well. And the government is kind of going back and forth with a new stimulus package. The economy definitely needs a stimulus package right now. That if that comes out, that will definitely help the economy, and that will help the stock market overall. There's going to be more money out there for people to invest, to purchase things. Companies will do well. But with all of that being said, I think one company that people should look into is something that will kind of still do well in this type of pandemic and this type of economy because everyone needs it. And that's basically food. So one stock you want to look into is Costco. I think Costco right now is going to be a pretty good bet to look into because even with the economy, even with the election coming up, you know, people still want to purchase things in terms of food, right? And that's actually a way for customers to save money when you buy wholesale, when you buy large bulk items. You actually tend to save more money. And during times like this, when people are penny pinching for, you know, the correct reasons, you know, they tend to go to places like Costco. So that's definitely a good deal. So specifically about Costco and why I think is a good thing. So the most recent fiscal quarter for Costco, their net sales grew 14.1% year over year. And their e-commerce business, of course, because of coronavirus, their revenue grew 91.3%, which is a great thing, right? So you kind of want to look into those. And at the times where, you know, retail stores are closing for the first half of 2020 due to coronavirus, this is something that's firing on all cylinders. So definitely look into that, right? Their last quarter net income rose 26% to $1.38 billion, right? So there's obviously some risk that's always going to be involved with this, but I definitely think Costco is something you should look into. It's not a sexy stock. It's not Tesla. It's not Apple, right? But it's still something I think that will do well within this current pandemic.
I think it's pretty safe to say that we had this Kappa episode. We mentioned a certain brother, so I'm sure that if something isn't sexy but it works, I think you're good to go. And now, before we get out of here, Zoe, bring us home with the Serenity Prayer.
Now, before we get to that, I definitely want to say I'm grateful that Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated was able to give me friends like you guys, as well as the other friends that are not in my organization, because everyone plays a part and instrumental in that like village to help raise a child. And when I joined, I was still a child, so that's part of what James said, the growth and getting to know everyone. Shout out to my man Isaac too. Isaac, that's the homie. So definitely wanted to give him a shout out as one of the others that's not in the org, but very, very like family. So with that said, I want everyone to have a good week going forward. Start again. I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna say it again. Get your votes together, whether it's mail-in, whether it's in person. Get it in early. Don't wait. Don't play games. You already know. If they see what you look like in line, they might play some funny games with you. So make sure you do what you got to do. And with that, we want to say, God grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
Amen.
And with that, we'll see y'all next week for episode 20, the big 2-0.
Wow.
And I know it's kind of wild. And happy about that. And we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Out.
Week.
Yo!